Hey everybody, Crypto Mentor 99. How you doing? I am in Texas today and I am with
Chris.
Crypto Chris.
That's right.
Right before we did the video, I said, Chris, we got to add crypto in front of Chris to do the video. So let me tell you how I met Crypto Chris. I actually know, this is a true story, full disclosure. I actually know Chris's father and mother, but I didn't know where Chris lived, and I am in Texas now. I just said that. So about a month ago, I'm going to say 3 weeks ago, I'm watching a live video on YouTube, and I see a man put in the live stream his name and his last name, and Chris commented on the live stream. And I looked and I said, that's my friend's son. That's got to be, his mom and dad's name. I said, that's Chris. That's Chris down in Texas. So I got a hold of I got a hold of Chris's dad, who lives not in Texas. I said, is Chris doing cryptos? And he's like, yeah. So I drove from Albuquerque, New Mexico with that long introduction to see Crypto Chris. Had brunch or lunch this morning, met his family, wonderful family. So let's talk cryptos after 2 minutes of that introduction. How did you get interested in cryptocurrencies?
Well, back in 2012, I would say, we're talking
2012.
We're talking 6 years ago. I would listen to this radio show. I would download the podcast while I was at work, and this guy would have a frequent guest who was like this hotshot tech guy, very informative about new innovation and technology, and his name was Max Kaiser. And before he was introduced on this radio show, I had never heard of him, but after looking into this guy and hearing what he had to say, I was like, this guy is 100% legit. He knows his stuff. He has multiple patents in electronic trading. He knows the markets, very influential. And he's talking about Bitcoin, and he's talking about the revolutionary technology behind it, the borderless transfer of currency, the time it takes, way better than a wire or Western Union. I knew he was onto something, and he recommended using Coinbase, which obscure at the time. What is this Coinbase? Is this a scam? But you know what? I looked into it, and I think for those of us that get hooked on this innovation and get this passion about Bitcoin, we really see the potential. We know that it's going to transform many different industries. It's going to replace and be a mediator. It's going to replace lawyers with smart contracts. It's going to eventually, central banks are going to introduce this digital currency. There's no mistaking it. We know. So that's why strangers can meet and talk crypto and be friends.
Yeah.
So anyways, I went on Coinbase. He suggested you got to get into this Bitcoin. And at the time it was $80.
Hello. Okay. $80 for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
80.
And I was like, you know what? I was single at the time, and I'm going to stab 10 grand. I'm going to put 10 grand into Bitcoin. I got 130 of them.
130. Hello.
At $80, and I found a live chart for it. I bought the 130 Bitcoin, and I started doing more research, and that's where it went wrong, because the media, what little coverage was on it, was influencing Bitcoin very negatively.
So are we still 2013?
We're back in
2012?
2012.
2012.
And we're back in the time where not only are they still trying to iron out regulatory oversight, institutions are still kind of waiting for that framework to be laid. But this was 5 years ago when it was going to be ruled on the U.S. government level on whether or not it's even legal to possess. So it was before that ruling that I had invested 10 grand. And I'm not kidding you. At the time, I saw the potential. I listened to Max Kaiser, what he had to say. I was seriously thinking this is going to hit $10,000, and I didn't know how long it was going to take. I didn't know how high from that 10 we were talking, but the goal was to just hold it, and then sell later on. And I started getting influenced by the media. This is around Mount Gox. This is, I mean, just
Mount Gox.
the worst criticism, far worse than now. Now we got fundamentals that are coming in and positive, real positive stuff. But back then, I was just kind of shaken. I was looking at, the exchange every day, and I was watching my Bitcoin bounce from $70 to 100, back to 70.
Oh, you poor thing.
And I was like,
you poor thing.
I was like, what should I do? And so then I found out, I read this media report that the government was going to rule on whether or not it was legal in 2 months. And I was like, well, if they say it's not legal, odds are, what's going to happen? So I'm going to sell before this ruling comes out. And that was the biggest mistake, because after the ruling came out, Bitcoin jumped to $1,200, and I was really, really pissed off. And for a couple years, I just stayed out of crypto and realized, that it wasn't too late, because things really haven't taken off yet to the levels that they will. So I got back in, and this time around is going to be much different, So that's
And
my
yesterday
story.
on the phone, before I drove here to this part of Texas, we talked for about an hour on the phone.
Yeah.
And we talked about, the next run up, whether it's at the end of 2018 or whatever, the beginning of 2019. I'm even going to handle my portfolio a little different. Like I like to hodl, but for the 2 years or so that I've been in this space, I'm going to do things a little bit different. And you taught me a few things, like on the phone, that, again, if it runs up to whatever, 20, 25, 30 short term, I may have a little different strategy this time.
Yeah, you could you could definitely argue. This is I know, from people I've talked to, but a lot got into the top, around 20. They FOMO'd in, and odds are, if it hits back close to that level, you might have a lot of sellers.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
We know, the many of the crypto community, we know
Yeah.
that the potential is a lot higher. In the end of 2019, I think we're going to see a great valuation, and get rid of a lot of the speculation, a lot of the hype that was priced into the market that wasn't true use case value. I think we're going to see the true value in late 2019. So either way you look at it, you're good, but
Yeah.
don't listen to the false reports out there trying to scare people out of digital gold. Just trust your gut. That's for sure.
So, what would you say to someone that is maybe, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. What would you say to someone, Crypto Chris, that is maybe watching either this video for the first time, where they really don't know that much about cryptocurrency? What would be a 1 or 2 point message that you would give them if they were totally new to the space, wanted to find out more, just general crypto advice? Like, what would you say to them?
I would say do your own due diligence. You're going to have a lot of people out there in the space motivated to feed you information, but you got to question where that comes from. You just do your own research. This is not rocket science. I will admit, a lot of the algorithms and technical aspects behind a lot of the projects is probably some rocket science. We're still trying to figure out sharding and a lot of heavy stuff, but you don't need to get that deep into the layers.
Yeah.
Read a white paper and try to understand, but use your own discernment. You'd be far better off than a lot of the info out there on trying to influence people. And just, and also that these are limited supply assets. And these are not like conventional market assets where they can issue a ton of stock
Yeah.
out there.
Yep.
And these are, much like digital scarce assets. And so a new asset class for the future, without a doubt. I mean, odds are, it'd probably be bigger than the stock market, but also eventually we're just going to tokenize the stock market. Everything's going to be tokenized. From bottle caps
Yeah.
to who knows. So the potential, the innovation, it's all there.
Guys, I like to hang around smart people. That's why I drove to Texas to talk to Crypto Chris. Hey, I'm Crypto Mentor 99. I'm on day 10 of my cryptocurrency road trip where, just like Chris, I bump into people, talk to them. We talk about cryptos. I'm on Twitter and Telegram at Crypto Mentor 99. Chris, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.